So it's now that she's kind of getting into it.
Why? This is so balanced.
No, it's real life, and remember, all the tragedy that happens to you when you're younger is excellent fodder for books in the future. And that's how you can take revenge on your parents. I mean, that's what a lot of first books are about. Oh my god, my parents were so mean to me. I want to write a book now. They're going to know how bad they were. And then you make money off it as well. You can laugh at her pain, but come on, it's going to work. Speaking of parenting, I want to introduce Sonali into this conversation, because you've written a book recently about parenting, and I think it came as a surprise to a lot of us.
To me too.
Because it's rare when somebody comes from the entertainment industry or the film industry, because it's just a different medium. It's so different a medium. So what brought your book about, and why did you think that it was so important for you to write this book about parenting?
Well, I was obviously consumed by parenting, and it's been the focal point, and everything kind of turned upside down in my life, and my way of thinking and everything kind of changed, and perspective in life changed. So it was a huge thing. It's like a earth-shattering thing for me in that sense. So I mean, everybody is a parent, and everybody says that it's something that happens to everybody, and every second there's a child born. It's a miracle, and that's what happened, and it changed a lot of things in my life. And it had consumed me so much that I needed to get it out in some way. And I would say my friends kind of helped me in that. They kind of goaded me to do this, because it was little chits of things that I would keep writing here and there, and it just kind of culminated into a book. I did not expect it to be as personal as it is, and as like you just said that yes, you do put yourself out there, and you're always going to wonder, are you going to be judged for it? For me, honestly, in that sense, because you've done movies, you've cried and wept and made all those faces in front of people, and done all sorts of dance movements, and thrust your body in various angles and stuff like that. So worn all kinds of clothes. So you're kind of immune to it in a certain way, because you feel, I've done it, I can take it. But book is, what do I say? It's bearing not just of your physical body, but of your soul, of your emotion. And that was, I think, a little more scary than going and facing the camera, quite honestly. Though you have to be honest, and camera catches dishonesty, etc., etc. All that is there. But quite frankly, this was very scary. So, in fact, I wanted to ask, when you were asking Ravi that question, I was very keen to know that, were you scared that will she be judged? Because what she's written, what Anusha has written in her book, is so today and believable and so real. Because quite frankly, we will all say that let's not talk about it, and oh my God, but that's the reality, and that's the hormones, and that's the age. And if they're not, I mean, if first love is not going to happen, then when? I mean, it's, you need to go through that first love to go into the second, third, fourth, and whatever.
Sonali, you're just going to make a lot of people who haven't experienced first love feel really bad.
But you must.
And look at their watches. And, get on Tinder and make bad decisions. But let's get to the part where you're saying that, apart from the fact that it was difficult, I want to pose this question to both of you. How difficult has it been to write the books that you have written? Anusha, would you like to answer first? It's not just like balancing school and life, but just the whole act of writing a book.
This one was surprisingly fun. So I didn't think it was very difficult as such, because I could relate so well. I knew what I wanted to write, and it was also good because I had a very clear picture of what I wanted at the end. So I had a lot of fun writing this book, and the only thing was I was very particular about not writing certain parts when I was not in the right headspace. So I got a lot of finish it fast from my parents, but it was like, no, I'm going to take a little while over this.
The part where Ravi says that you don't listen to what they're going to say, is that... But it worked out for her, see?
It always works out, but then, their parents.
It's Sonali, take over immediately from there. She says because they're parents.
Yeah, but I've decided that I'm not saying anything. For the next 3 years, I'm on her side. After that, in another 4 or 5 years, my son is 11, he's just turned 11 now. He's going to be 16, by then I'll be on Ravi's side. So, right now I'm on her side, so yeah, I have time still.
Anusha, when you were writing, were there any other books that you sort of had in mind as you wanted to, that you were inspired by? Who were you reading at the time that you were writing the book? Who do you read normally?
I just want to put it out there that this has nothing to do with John Green, like nothing. Okay, I would not like to be associated with that at all. But answering the other part of your question, I wasn't reading any such novel. I think that helped though, so that because I could then that didn't bias me as such, and I go through phases where I like different kinds of books. But my top favorite is obviously J.K. Rowling, Rick Riordan, and Cassandra Clare to an extent. Like if you don't feel like writing at a point, if you go back and read them, you feel like you also want to write something as potent, then you start writing again.
Because your first book is also, I think it was inspired by these fantasy authors that you love and you read. What is it about writing fantasy that is so difficult and yet is rather unappreciated in mainstream publishing industry?
Honestly, I think,
especially because you didn't choose Hindu mythology.
Yeah, I should have though. I think my grandmom hates me for that forever for that. But I think I picked fantasy not because of anything else, but because it was easy for me as a 12-year-old to create my own world rather than write something in the real world. Because honestly, it's more complicated. I mean, I can just do away with all the problems in the new world however I wanted. So I think that was the main force behind writing a fantasy. So it was in Norse. I think I picked because I was reading something about Norse that time.
Now that you've written something in real world also, what do you think now? What was easier, real world problems or the fantasy world?
Definitely real world. Because now I don't know how I wrote that book, honestly. When people ask me what is your book about, I don't know what to say. There was a school interview where I was asked what is that book about, and I stumbled and finally I don't think anybody knew what that book was about because I'd forgotten what it was about. And right now it's much easier to talk about this book, not because I've just written it, but because I know exactly what I was writing.
I think when in doubt, when people ask you what your book is about, I think it's best to resort to 2 words: buy it. And that answers all the questions.
For multiple people, that just Google it or buy it.
Sonali, are you, now that your first book's down and the response has been so favorable and so good, have you thought about writing a second, but maybe not non-fiction, maybe fiction?
I don't think I can write fiction. I really feel that. I love reading fiction and I love living in a fictional world, etc., etc. And I go into it for days and kind of don't want to come out of it. I feel it's very difficult to write fiction, and I don't know how you do it, but it's really difficult to write it. It's lovely to read it. Having said that, I'm at that phase right now where I did the first book and it has come out, and I'm not sure if I'm happy that it's appreciated, and hence they want me to write another book, and now I'm feeling the pressure that I need to write another book, and I don't know if I should feel the pressure. So all that is going on. So I'm still kind of grappling with that because I hadn't really thought beyond this book. I hadn't thought I would be writing a book as such. That's happened. So now I need to start thinking about that and say that, okay, what am I going to do now? But I don't feel like fiction, definitely not.
I'm going to pose a question to both of you because I think one should take advantage of the opportunity that we have 2 incredibly successful people on stage, with a slight age difference. What I wanted to ask you...
I like the slight part.
What I wanted to ask you both about is that, do you find that it has become increasingly important for women, no matter whether they're starting at 16 or whether they're starting later in a new field, to be heard, to be taken seriously? I mean, if all of us have been following the news and watched the Democrat and Republican debate, women, it's just an example of how many times, how frequently, how overtly and insidiously women get interrupted when they want to have a voice, when they want to speak, when they want to be heard. And here we have 2 women who I think have been trying to have their say in 2 different ways. So what would you like to say about that? I know I promised Anusha no heavy questions, but then you wrote a book, this is going to happen to you. Even with parenting,
I think it's still not easy to be her, and quite frankly, I grew up not even. We were three sisters, so I actually grew up without that brother and that So we kind of had a, so to say, voice in that sense. But as you grow older, you realize how little a voice you actually have and have had, and it's really not too different even now. Now, because it still takes me so long to understand that I have a voice and I should use it. We are so somewhere in our subconscious psyched into feeling, first of all, we're feeling guilty about everything. And you're happy you're guilty, you're sad you're guilty, you want to do something. It's just, and as I see my niece now, I have a son and I have, my sister has twins, a boy and a girl. And we were just 2 days back, we were talking about it and we were saying that, you don't even, she's saying, I need to put in an extra effort to make my daughter understand that it's okay, you don't have to do this if you don't want to do it. Because everywhere around us, it's so set into us that, even without intending to, everybody is kind of telling the girl what to do, how she should talk, how she should behave, how she should respond to something. And it's not that frequently told to the boy. And so as a mother, she really needs to work harder. And because they're twins, she can see the difference. And we were just having a discussion about it, that we don't even realize it. It doesn't occur to us to think that, do I have a voice? Now when you think about it, you realize that no, not really. And that's because I'm not using it that well also. So we need to stand up and say that yes, my voice is there, hear it. And we need to support each other. The women need to support each other on this a lot more than we've been doing.
Anusha, I'm just going to make it a little easier because taking off on what Sonali was saying, I think you've done a remarkable job with the voices of the young girls in your book. And that, I think, you just said that no, I don't want to talk about it right now. Let Sonali answer first. But I think that is a remarkable achievement. What were you thinking about when you were writing these fairly complex characters? Because teens are complicated, teenage is it's a landmine, you don't know where you'll take a step and get blown up, and then you gather your limbs and hope they're all the same size and then move on in life. So when did you, what were your concerns when you were writing these extraordinary, remarkably young but